Hi, 8th grade. This is lesson 5 of module 6, comparing functions. I can compare functions presented in equations, tables, graphs, and verbal descriptions. So this is a really great lesson because it gives you an idea of the different ways that functions can be represented, and you can kind of decide what you like the best or what's the easiest way for you to understand when there's a problem like this. So there's no build understanding or spark your learning. So we're going to just start right here with the step it out. 4 friends want to buy a drone for a science fair project. Excuse me. To afford the drone, they decide to buy a used lawnmower and start a lawn care business. Each of the friends represents the profit of their business differently. So you can see there's Peter does a table here, Marley does a graph. So this is all the same information. Robin does a verbal description, and Claudia does the slope intercept form of an equation. So it's all the same information, just in different forms. So let's look at what they ask. Describe their lawn care business, including the meaning of the slope and y-intercept of the function modeling their business. So what I'd like you to do here is pause the video and look at all the different representations and see if you can figure out the answers to these questions from the different representations. And you may use different representations for the different questions. The unit rate is, the initial cost of the lawnmower is, the friend's profit is positive after they have mowed how many lawns. Pause the video and work on those problems, and then we'll work on it together. So let's look at the questions here. So what I've done is I kind of extended Peter's chart backwards so you could see starting with 0 when they've mowed 0 lawns. That helps rather than just having the partial information there. It kind of helps to see where do they start. And then they tell you in Robin's description that after they've mowed 6 lawns, they will have paid off the lawnmower and made $6 profit. So that kind of tells you that's where they start making a profit. So the unit rate is the same thing as the slope, or the constant rate of change with each lawn mowed. And you can see here I've written, and this is what you're looking for with these kinds of things. You're always kind of looking for a pattern. What's the change with each lawn mowed? And they're making $15 increase every time they mow another lawn. And the same here, this from to this is 15, then they earn 15 more dollars. So their debt is going down until they get to 6 lawns. Now they have a profit of $6. So the unit rate would be $15, and that's per lawn mowed. The initial cost of the lawnmower, and they don't tell you that anywhere. You can kind of see that negative 84 there. That's what they have to subtract from their profit to be able to see how much they are making and when will they absorb that cost. So the initial cost of the lawnmower is $84, and then the friend's profit is positive after they've mowed 6 lawns. And they tell you that in here. So look at the turn and talk. Which representation do you prefer to interpret? Explain your preference. Which representation best illustrates the friend's process and their goal? Which contains the most information? So those are all kind of personal preferences. So think about that and talk with someone about that. But then we're going to go to the next page. So now let's look at this second problem. Choosing how to represent a linear function depends on the situation and what you need to know. When linear functions are represented differently, finding the slope and y-intercept for each can help compare information. So here the 4 friends researched companies to host a website with the results of their science fair project. They need to decide which company to use. Some of the companies charge a one-time fee for a domain name. So here again, they show you the different So different representations for different companies. So Peter found this company, Marley found this company, Robin found this company, and Claudia found this equation for company D's costs. So they're different companies and different representations. For me personally, it would be easier to see different companies represented the same way, but you can create a table from any of the other things or create a graph or whatever is easiest for you to be able to compare. So let's look at the questions. What are the slope and y-intercept for each representation? So look at those. What does the slope represent for each company? What does the y-intercept represent for each company? And then D, Peter says company C will always be the least expensive. Excuse me. Because the domain name is free. Is he correct? So you'd read through and answer those questions, fill in the blanks. Marley says that company A charges $2 per month. Is Marley correct? So you'd read through that and answer those questions. So take a minute, pause the video, and then go through, answer the questions, and then we'll work on these together. So let's find the slope and y-intercept for each one. So if you look at company A, it's increasing by $2 per month. Each increase is $2, so the slope would be 2. The y-intercept, they start at month 5, so that's a little challenging. You don't know where it's 0, but you know if you go back to month 0, that's 5 months, and then if you go back 2 from 20, you get to 10. So the y-intercept there would be 10 if you count back by 2s from 20 5 times. So company B, the slope, let's see, the slope is, because they charge 75 cents per month, that's the slope. And the y-intercept, where they start you, is 15. That's the initial cost. Company C, the slope is 4. That's the change. And it's hard to see on the graph because they have increments of 5, but there's a space in between, so 2.5, 5. You can kind of tell, but then when you get up to 5 months and it's at 20, you can see that's right on the 20, and you know 5 times 4 is 20. The y-intercept is 0 because it starts here, right at 0. And company D, the slope is 3. You can see that. It's in that form already, so that makes it easy. And then the y-intercept is 5. What does the slope represent for each company? And so again, that's just the rate of change, the constant rate of change. So it's the monthly charge. For the website. What does the y-intercept represent? And that's the cost of in dollars to buy the domain name. So some of them, like company C, they don't charge you initial cost. It starts right at 0, but then they charge you $4 per month. So the y-intercept is the initial value or the cost to buy the domain name. So Peter says that company C will always be the least expensive option because the domain name is free. So do you think Peter is correct or not correct? Actually, he is not correct. He's not correct because company C is the least expensive at first because they don't charge that that fee up front. So it'll be the least expensive for the first 4 months, and then it starts to become more expensive than the other plans because the monthly charge is greater. Monthly cost is greater. Marley says company A charges $2 per month for their webpage. Is Marley correct? Yes, she is correct. In the table, the cost increases by $2 per month for each additional month. This means the rate of change is constant. The slope of the line is 2. So that's the part that we're going to do together. Look at the turn and talk. It's similar to the other one. Which representation do you prefer to use to decide which company offers the best plan long term? And think about and explain your choice. So that's all for this lesson. I will see you in the next one.